About 10 minutes ago, I got home from a theatrical screening of the second Jujutsu Kaisen movie, the execution slash culling game movie. My opinions of the movie, I don't really think I can say that it's necessarily good or bad. I enjoyed it quite a bit. However, my foremost impression of it is that it is a heavily fans only movie. The first half of the movie is a very condensed recap of the second half of the second TV season. The second half of the movie is the execution and beginning of the Culling Game story arcs, which happen very, very quickly. But this movie pretty much requires that the viewer be familiar with the Jujutsu Kaisen storyline up until the beginning of this movie. I cannot imagine any viewer coming into this movie without having watched all of the prior Jujutsu Kaisen anime, both TV seasons, the previous movie. Someone that doesn't have that knowledge is probably going to be very, very confused and very lost in this movie. So essentially, this is just a reminder of what led up to the story at this point, and then it progresses the story forward. I can say that the progression of the story forward is interesting. It does introduce a couple of really intriguing new plot points, a couple of surprises. I know that the second TV series ended, at least for me, with a giant question mark, wondering how can this possibly progress? Where is it going to go? It seems as if the story is at the lowest possible point for the heroes. But the Culling Game aspect of this new movie really does open up a whole lot of new possibilities and really makes me very excited for a third season of the TV series, because I don't read the manga, so I'm not familiar with where the manga storyline goes. I doubt very seriously that this movie will rake in anywhere near the amount of money or even the amount of credit or acclaim that the Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle movie did, or the Chainsaw Man Reze arc movie did, because those movies are essentially standalone features. They do continue their respective story arcs, but they are self-contained, accessible movies. Whereas the Culling Game movie is really not a self-contained story. It is not a beginning and ending story. It's not a film that a new viewer can just come into and even hope to comprehend. So that said, if you are a Jujutsu Kaisen fan, you should probably remember what the back half of the second season delivered and expect more of that from this new movie. So that said, I'm wanting to also take some time to share with you some of the new stuff that I've acquired lately. I want to preface by saying that the point of this video is not me, myself. It's not to show how impressive I am or to draw attention to me. For example, I know that there is a particular professional book hunter in Tokyo who likes to make videos that, in a sense, emphasize how cool he is, because they're all about what he can find and what he's interested in, but he never actually tells anyone where he got this stuff from. He likes to keep secrets. That's not my purpose. I will tell you what I paid for stuff. I will tell you where I got it. My point is just to share things that I think are interesting. So that said, and apologies for this being messy, but I will start with I did, like a lot of people, I did get the Dirty Pair Kickstarter Blu-ray box from Right Stuff slash Crunchyroll. Many of you, if you're watching this video, you're probably at least in passing aware of me or familiar with me. So you know that I grew up with Dirty Pair. I've been a Dirty Pair fan for 30, 40, probably 35 years now. So I got the box and got the additional OVA series discs. I might have to hold this up. The feature film and the Dirty Pair Flash. And I also, because I got all of the discs, I also more recently did get the corrected edition replacement discs. Now, I remember thinking to myself, man, I know that I bought both of the acrylic lights, but I didn't go in for a lot of the add-on stuff. And so I remember thinking to myself, I really hope that I added the extra funds for the hardcover illustration book, because you can probably tell, like, this is a small portion of my collection. I collect a lot of anime books, so I really hope I spent the money on it. Well, apparently I'm at least moderately intelligent that I actually pre-ordered 2 copies of the hardcover art book, which I'm glad about, because now that Right Stuff doesn't exist anymore and the Crunchyroll store is unreliable, I might never have a reasonable opportunity to get a copy of this again in the future. So I'm glad that I was intelligent and smart enough and had the foresight to not only pre-order 1 copy, but actually pre-order 2 copies. Because in my philosophy, 1 is never enough of anything. But I have made a couple import orders lately. I was holding off for a long time because I was really nervous about the import taxes, the Trump tariffs. But I finally found some stuff that I really decided I wanted, regardless of whether I had to pay tariffs for it or not. So after my first order, I discovered that I still don't know exactly how the tariffs work, and I'll explain as I go. But the tariffs didn't hit me as hard as I expected. So I've been a little bit more liberal with my import buying lately. But in a recent purchase, I was able, I think this may have been the magazine that encouraged me to break my fast and buy import stuff again. This is the Jump Square 2 Volume 13 from, what year? 2014. This is considered the debut published work of Tatsuki Fujimoto, who created Chainsaw Man. Now, technically, he did create 2 or 3 manga short stories, but I'm not sure that they were ever published. So I believe this is his first published manga work. I don't remember what I paid for this, but I'm thankful that I actually got this from Surga for, I think it was probably under $15. It was only like $10 or $12, I think. I don't remember. But I know I picked this up really, really affordably. And I remember waiting the week or 2 it took to get here, wondering if I would get it, wondering if it would be sold out. Because Surga has a terrible, terrible tendency to not tell you if something is sold out until well after. For example, on one of my recent orders, the order had already arrived here and was at my house for 2 days before I got an email message saying that one of the items in that order had sold out. But I picked up 2 copies of Comic Gamist magazine. This one I bought because this is the first appearance of the Sakura Ganbaru manga series. This particular issue I bought because it was on my want list, But honestly, I couldn't remember why I wanted this one. I didn't write down anywhere, so I thought to myself, well, maybe I wanted this one just because it had a nice cover, and it was. I think I paid somewhere around $5 or $6 for it. It was really cheap. But then I was flipping through it, and I realized that I probably can't find it now, but I realized that this issue contains what I'm pretty sure is the first appearance of the first comic appearance of Biohazard. The first ever Resident Evil in comics is in here. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not sure if I bought this one knowing that or if it was just coincidence, but I'm surprised that the Wikipedia pages report that the first comic appearance was something like an adaptation or based off of Resident Evil 6. The Japanese and American Wikipedia pages don't report this original Biohazard manga that came out almost exactly 3 months after the first game did in Japan. So that's what makes me think this is probably the true first comic appearance of Biohazard. What is this? Okay, I have one copy of this in my collection already, but I picked up 2 more copies. Actually, one of these I had for a little while, and I bought this because it was on my want list, and then I got it, and I flipped through it, and nothing looked familiar, and so I thought to myself, why did I buy this? Why did I put this on my want list? I don't even remember what was important about this issue, so I put it away, and for literally months, and forgot about it, and then another one came available, and so I thought, what was it that made me buy this in the first place? And then I finally realized it's right on the front cover that in small print there, it mentions Karakuri Doji Ultimo. So this is the one-shot chapter, first appearance of the Stan Lee created manga Ultimo. So I don't know how collectible it is. I don't know how many people actually really care about Stan Lee's manga. Stan Lee created at least Ultimo and Hero Man. I'm pretty sure that I also have the first appearance of Hero Man. But these were really cheap. These were only like $3 or $4. And so I figured, well, at that price, I don't mind picking up a second or even a third copy. I think this is also my second and third copy. I'm pretty sure. Because again, these were, I think, under $10 from Suriga. This issue of Shonen Jump, this is becoming more relevant now. This issue is for One Piece fans, this issue is the first appearance of the Five Elders. It also is the final page cameo, first appearance of Doflamingo Don Quixote, and the first appearance of Bartholomew Kuma. This issue of Manga Time Kirara Carrot is... Which one is this? There's two... Okay, yeah. This issue is the first appearance of the Machikado Mazoku manga series. I don't know how many of you remember it. The anime, I think, had 2 seasons. This was essentially my neighbor, Devil. This was about the cute little girl who one day grew horns out of her head and realized that she was part of a line of demons. I really liked the anime. I thought it was a really cute show. So when the first appearance of the manga came up, I grabbed this really, really cheap. I almost forgot what this issue was, but it was on my want list. This is a second copy. This is the first appearance of the Kuro no Katsuji Hitsugi manga series. In other words, this is the first appearance of the Carry a Coffin Kuro manga series. Carry a Coffin Kuro, I apologize, the creator's name has temporarily slipped my mind, but she is also the creator of G.A. Geijutsuka Art Design Academy. If you have any interest at all in very fairy tale like manga series, Carry a Coffin Kuro is very fairy tale esque in that it's very fanciful, but it also has a very, very dark, very morbid undercurrent. It's one of my very personal, very favorite manga series, so that's why I now have 2 copies of the first appearance. And this is the first issue of Comic Dengeki Daioji. This is my second copy, because I think this copy was only like $3 or $4 from Suriga. It was really cheap. Nobody really cares about this. But this first issue is also the first appearance of Hitori Bochi ga Marumaru Seikatsu. If you remember that title, if you remember that it had an anime series a number of years ago, you have my respect. I remember really enjoying that TV show, but I think nobody remembers that it exists. But I like the show, so to get a second copy of the first appearance for like $3, sure, I'll pick that up. I'm thinking to myself that possibly in 2026, I will get a dealer's table at a local area anime convention. There are a couple anime conventions in the Central Florida area, in the Tampa up to Orlando area. I haven't had a dealer table at one in a couple years, but I'm thinking next year I might do it again to sell some of this stuff. So I picked up these essentially Disneyland manga from 1963. These are Disney no Kuni, or Land of Disney, or Disney Nation, or Nation of Disney. They're not in great shape, but I think these were under $10 a piece. I think maybe one of these is from 1962, and I think the rest of them are from 1963. Yeah, as I mentioned, they are in kind of rough shape. But okay, yeah, like this one has the Mandarake price tag on it for 800 yen. So this one was only about $5. So when I'm paying about $5 a piece for them, yeah, this one also 800 yen. When I'm paying about $5 a piece for them, I figured that perhaps I might be able to sell these to a Disney collector. Maybe I'll take these to a show and put $15 or $20 on them and see if anybody makes me an offer on them. I don't remember how many copies of these I have right now. I am a big fan of Sana Takeda and Marjorie Liu's American comic series Monstrous. I don't think I've read the most recent 1 or 2 issues, but I know I've read it up to somewhere around 53 or 54 so far. I think there were 55 issues out so far. But these are the Japanese language editions. Now, granted, it is an American comic, but it's drawn by a Japanese illustrator. So I think it's just neat to have the Japanese first printing editions. I do have a volume 3 also, but for some reason, volumes 1 and 2 are super cheap, but volume 3 is still about $20, so I don't have duplicates of volume 3, but I do have several copies of each of 1 and 2. Those are another thing that I might take to a convention sometime. I think this is my second copy, maybe third, but I'm pretty sure this is my second copy of the first appearance of the Shokugeki no Soma cooking manga. I'm not a big fan of Shokugeki no Soma. I never really have been a big fan of it, but I don't think, I got this from Suriga. I don't think there's a price. There's no price on it. But again, I think I paid somewhere around $10 for it. So at that price, I can pick this up. So I have one in my collection and one that I can possibly sell at an anime con. Well, if that's my second copy, then this is my third copy. This is a issue of Shonen Captain magazine. As far as I know, there was nothing special about this issue. It's just a early 80s, mid 80s manga magazine, and it has Guyver on the cover. So I thought to myself, if I'm, okay, 1986, and I thought to myself, if I'm going to try to sell old manga magazines at a anime or comic show, somebody might be interested in this just because of the cover. And it was cheap. This was like $2 or something like that. It was really, really super cheap. So I figured just as a cover buy, I'm interested. You know, how often do you see magazines with Guyver on the cover nowadays? Excuse me for just a moment. This one is for my personal collection. You may be able to tell that this Shonen Jump issue is the first appearance of Masakaze Katsura's Video Girl Ai. This one was a little bit more expensive. I want to say I paid somewhere around $60 US for this issue, but this one's staying in my personal collection, so I don't mind that it was a bit more expensive. Oh, yeah. I mentioned that I had many copies of these, so... two copies. It took me a while to track down this issue, but then all of a sudden I just hit a gold mine and found multiple copies. Again, for One Piece fans, this issue is the first appearance of the Worst Generation. Most notably, this is the first appearance of Trafalgar Law and the first appearance of Jewelry Bonnie. Now, this is also the first appearance of X-Drake. It's the first appearance of Scatman, Apu. I can't remember, off the top of my head, I can't remember the names of the other Worst Generation captains. Eustace Kid, I believe this is the first appearance of Eustace Kid, I think. But, yeah, multiple One Piece first appearances in this issue. This is still a fairly, at least in Japan, this is still a fairly cheap issue. This is typically like under $30. I think I probably paid somewhere around probably $20 or less for these two copies. Let's see, where else have I got here? I picked up, I think these are my second and third copies. This is one that I've had on my want list for a long, long time, and I forgot why, so I just bought two of them. And then I flipped through one of them, and I was reminded, oh, that's why I was buying up this issue. The first appearance of Tsunade in Naruto is really debatable because Tsunade first appears as a teenager in a flashback. Then she appears in I think there's an issue where there's like a one panel shot of the back of her head. And then there's another shot in this issue where, once again, here we see the back of her head as an adult. But later in the next page, we get our first ever shot of adult Tsunade. So in one sense, you can make the argument that this is the first fall appearance, first cameo appearance, first appearance of adult Tsunade in Naruto. I think that's still debatable how you want to define it. But these were, I don't know, like $5 or $8 a piece or something like that. They were pretty cheap. So I picked up two more copies. I have one in my collection already, and then two more. This issue, which I haven't taken out of the wrapper yet, but this issue of Shonen Jump contains the 6th chapter of Dragon Ball. This is the first appearance of Chi-Chi. Now, this is my only copy, so this one, unless I get a better condition one, this one will stay in my personal collection. Chi-Chi is really, she's in a lot of Dragon Ball. She's a pretty important character. She's Son Goku's wife. She is the mother of Son Gohan. She's the mother of Son Goten. She is arguably Bulma's best friend. But if you think about it, Chi-Chi never really does much in Dragon Ball. So despite being in a lot of Dragon Ball, she's not ever really a pivotal character. So her first appearance really isn't super desirable, but I still think it's a neat landmark. And she's definitely a fan favorite character, even though she's not a really important character. I don't remember what I paid for this one. I don't remember. I also don't remember if I got this from Mandarake or Suriga. I'm pretty sure that this... Okay, no. This, with the tag, this came from Suriga. I want to say that... I think I paid somewhere around $20 for this. But considering it's staying in my personal collection, I'm okay with that. Speaking of Guyver, I think this is now my third copy of the first issue of Shonen Champion. This is the first appearance of Yoshihisa Taigami's Gray. It's also, more importantly, as much as that pains me to say it, this is the first appearance of Bio Booster Armor Guyver. Now, this is my third copy. I have one in my personal collection. I have one copy that's actually at Beckett right now getting graded. And then now a third copy. So one of these I will probably at least offer up for sale sometime in the future. These are not cheap. I think this one cost me somewhere around $50. But considering how historically important it is, I think that's still a pretty good price. I mentioned that I have an issue at Beckett being graded. I am kicking around the idea of getting some Chobits Tankobon slabbed and graded. I have a first printing Tokyo Pop Tankobon of Chobits that has the Obi. I think it's like the only copy I've ever seen that has the original Tokyo Pop Obi on it. So I thought to myself, it might be neat to get both the first print American and the first print Japanese Tankobons in graded slabs. So this is, I think, yeah, from Mandarake, this one was 1,500 yen, and it came with the original first edition mousepad. However, it does not have the Obi. Now, I think I have another copy in one of these boxes, and I'm hoping that one has the Obi so I can put together a complete first edition copy. I bought this Girls on Panzer embroidered patch. I'm a former Boy Scout. I am still an Eagle Scout, so I have a affection for cloth patches. And I thought this one was kind of attractive. It's 600 yen. So it was something like $4 or so. So if there were more of these, I probably would have bought more of them. But this was the only one that was available. But at least it has, I think, what is it? Akari? Is that her name? It's been a while since I watched any Girls in Panzer. And it's not my very favorite anime. But at least that is the main character. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm probably just going to throw it somewhere in my collection and forget that I own it. But I think it's just neat to have. This is a Anime Tensho CD. I don't know if it's audio CD or drama CD. It's some sort of anime promotional CD. This was, it was only 100 yen at Mandarake. So I think Anime Tensho stuff is neat. I buy Anime Tensho stuff when I can. Because, and if you don't know what Anime Tensho is, rather than me explain it, I encourage you, just go look it up. Go find out who and what Anime Tensho is. But what's intriguing about this is I bought this along with a bunch of other stuff. I bought this CD along with one DVD, one Blu-ray, a bunch of manga, a bunch of Shikijiki, and a bunch of figures. Now, I got tariff feed, like $30 uh, for audio CD. So I paid essentially $30 in tariffs for a 75-cent audio CD. That makes no sense to me. I don't know if I got tariffed. The tariff fee was for, quote, audio CD. Now, I don't know if that means literally just the audio CD, or if that included the Blu-ray, or if it included the Blu-ray and the DVD. However, all three discs combined, the Blu-ray and the DVD and this audio CD, were only about $5 US. So I got hit with $30 in tariff fees. Now, granted, that was $17 in DHL brokerage fee, plus another $13 in tariff charges. Now, had I known I was going to pay $30-something in tariffs because of one 75-cent CD, I obviously would not have bothered buying the CD. But it's also interesting to know that I did not get any tariff fees on the pre-owned figures or the pencil boards, and I'll come back to that because that's a weird one too, or the manga. Now, I don't know if that's because of what the material is or because it was secondhand. I'm confused. Oh, this was the DVD. This is a porno DVD. I literally, a friend of mine asked me, throw in some other stuff just to see whether or not it gets tariffed. So we actually picked the cheapest porno DVD we could get from Mandarake just to see if it would trigger tariffs. Now, unfortunately, it did, or seemingly it did. I don't know, for example, because it always said audio CD, so I don't know if this DVD did or not. But this DVD, I'm just going to throw this out. This was just an experiment to see what would happen if I added this to my order. And this was the Blu-ray. I'm not really a big fan of Love Live, but this is the first volume limited edition, so it comes with the slipcase, comes with the separate booklet, and moreover, this has English subtitles. But most importantly, this was 140 yen. So this limited edition, first edition, English subtitled Love Live Blu-ray was about $1 US. So again, my friend encouraged me, add a Blu-ray in there, see if it triggers tariffs, just so we know for future reference. I still don't know whether or not this triggered the tariffs, but I do know that I get hit with $30 in tariff fees, and the order included a $1 Blu-ray. But, let's see, other stuff. I believe this is a doujinshi. I don't think this is a normal commercial publication. I believe this is a doujinshi that Yoshitaka Amano self-published. This is Mono Volume 1. There are 3 of these, 3 volumes. I do not have Volumes 2 and 3. I only have Volume 1. But this came up fairly cheap. This was somewhere around $10. On eBay, they start at $50, which I think is a little bit ridiculous, a little bit high. I'm not personally the biggest Amano fan. I might give this away to a friend of mine who is a bigger Amano fan than I am. But just because it was available fairly cheap, I decided I would buy it. I bought this Shikajiki from Mandarake because it was really cheap. This was 400 yen. So it was about $2.50 or $3 or so US. It does have nudity, so that's why I'm censoring it. I will censor the back also. I've been trying to acquire this Natsuki Crisis Shikajiki for actually a couple of years now. It's been out of stock at Mandarake for a long, long time, but one finally came back in stock, so I picked this up. I think you probably have to be a fairly old school and fairly in the weeds anime fan to be familiar with Natsuki Crisis. I want to say I don't remember if it was late 90s or early 2000s. Or was it even earlier? Was it early 90s? Honestly, I don't even remember. Natsuki Crisis had a... No, I don't even remember if it had one OVA or if it was two OVAs. But it's girl martial arts. I remember the anime wasn't great, but just because it's an obscure title that has a Shikijiki, I was interested in getting one. This was 500 yen. I grew up, along with Dirty Pair, Ixer 1 is one of the series that I grew up with. So, Toshihiro Hirano's Ixer 1 is one of my nostalgic favorites. I try to collect everything Dirty Pair I possibly can. I don't do that with Ixer 1, but I'm close. I do buy a lot. I do collect a lot of Ixer 1 merchandise. I've liked this. This illustration has been around for years and years and years. I really do like this illustration. So when I discovered that it was available on a pencil board and it was available, I bought this. This one was a little bit more expensive. It's just 1,500 yen. So around $12 US. That's usually more than I like to pay for pencil boards. But in a case like this one, I was willing to pay a little bit more for it. I have not taken this out of the plastic yet, so I don't know exactly what this is, but I think this might be a Japanese translation of the first issue of, I think it's Matt Frank's American Redman comic. Apologies if I got the name wrong. I think it's Matt Frank who created, I believe it was a 6-issue American comic book series based on the old Tokusatsu series Redman. So yeah, I think this is a limited Japanese translation of the first issue. I'm not 100% certain, but it seemed interesting to me regardless. I did buy, I believe this is my second copy of this Dirty Pair Doujinshi. This one was 400 yen. I don't need it, but it was really cheap, so I just threw it into my order as a duplicate just because it was really cheap. I don't try to collect everything One-Chanbara, but I did play the original PlayStation One-Chanbara 1 and One-Chanbara 2. I really, really enjoyed those games. I have one of the Xbox One-Chanbara games, but I have never actually gotten around to playing it. But I do like One-Chanbara. I've watched both of the live-action movies. I don't religiously collect One-Chanbara Doujinshi. I don't have all of them, but when I find them cheap enough, I do pick them up. This one was 400 yen. I believe this is a Konkore Doujinshi. This particular one just picked my interest. I've had this one on my want list for for a number of years now, and it's always sold out. But finally, one came in stock. I actually went to Tokyo now 2 months ago and could not find this, but it came in stock for only about $3. So for about $3, I was really happy to finally cross this off my want list. I have been trying now for probably 20 years, if not more than 20 years, to complete a set of Saigato Doujinshi. I'm getting really close now. I believe I think there are 4 current Saigato Doujinshi that I do not have, and then I believe there's 2 more coming out later this month. And then I do not have Ishoku Dogen's, I think it's his very first Doujinshi. I believe Ishoku Dogen's very first Doujinshi is Pink Macadamian Volume 1. I do own Pink Macadamian Volumes 2, 3, and 4, but I do not own a Volume 1. I have never seen a copy for sale before, but I keep hoping I'll find one eventually. These 2 issues I did not own, so these 2 get crossed off my need list. This one I have a copy of already. This is a duplicate, but this was only about $5 US. So because it was so cheap, I decided to buy a second copy anyway. because this is a relatively rarer, a little bit less common Saigano Dojinshi. This is my second copy of this America no Otomodachi Dojinshi. This is not pornographic. I don't believe there's any nudity in this. It's just a nice looking book. It's a nice cover. This is my second copy. This one's also a bit tough to get because it seems to always be sold out. But this one, again, was only about $3 US. I figured that I could take this to a comic convention and possibly sell this for a little bit of a profit. So that's why I picked up a second copy. Apologies, I'm going to have to censor this cover. This particular doujinshi has also been on my want list for about a year, maybe 2 years now. I've been waiting for a copy to come back in stock. Again, this one was only about $3 from Mandarake. But I just wanted to own a copy personally, and it finally came back in stock, so I picked this up. This is a Subarahase Pretty Cure Dojinshi. This was only 200 yen, so this was only a little bit more than $1. This is, if I'm correct, this is Fresh Precure. I didn't watch very much of Fresh Precure, but I like the cover, and I do like Subarahase. Am I right? Or is this... am I getting the name wrong? It's Moon Ruler. Moon Ruler is... No! Moon Ruler is Jogi. Tsukasa Jogi? Apologies, I can't remember the artist's name. Jogi, it's T something Jogi. Sorry, I got the name wrong, artist name wrong. But, yeah, I also collect, not aggressively, not fully, but I have a handful of this artist's doujinshi also. When I was talking about possibly grading some manga tankobon, I was talking about possibly grading Chobits first editions. The Dadadan manga originated as a web manga. So the first, as far as I know, the first print copy is the tankobon. Now, don't quote me on that. I encourage you, if you're curious, look it up. I may be incorrect on that. I haven't looked it up. I'm honestly half guessing. So it may have gone to magazine before the tankobon. But these are first printings of the Dadadan tankobon. These were 1,000 yen a piece. They're probably only about $5 books, $4 books. But since it's a popular title, the price increased a little bit. But in US dollars, they're what, like $7 a piece? So for $7 a piece or so, yeah, I'm happy to have these. Maybe I will slab one, and get it graded in plastic case encapsulated. Maybe I'll do that with both of them and keep one of them. I don't know, but I figure they're probably only going to slowly increase in value. So I figured I'll pick them up while I can, while they're cheap. Also, I am considering getting this graded. This should be a first printing Akira tankobon. Katsuro Otomo. I have, some of you that have watched or that follow me, may know that I have a first appearance of Akira in a graded slab. So I thought it might be neat also to have a matching graded slab of the first printing tankobon. Now, this was a little bit more expensive. This was 9,000 yen. So depending on currency exchange, this cost me somewhere between $75, $78, $80, $70, somewhere between $70 and $80 US is what this cost. But I know they can't be that common anymore. Now, I'm not sure if the paper has yellowed or if they were always this color. But I'm not really concerned about a condition grade. I think I would just like to have this sealed in, archival case. So I am looking forward to getting this graded and slabbed for my personal collection. Just because I think it's a neat part of anime history, and it will be neat to have the first appearance and the first Takoban. I picked up this monstrosity. This is my third, maybe my fourth copy. I have a bunch of these. This is the first appearance of Ruri Dragon. Now, those of you that follow manga may think to yourself, wait a minute, isn't the first appearance of Ruri Dragon the Shonen Jump with her on the cover? This is the first appearance of the one-shot. The regular serialization came a couple months later and has her front and center on the cover. But this is the first appearance of the one-shot. So this is the first appearance of Ruri Dragon. I do not, at this point, I don't know if Ruri Dragon is ever going to become an anime. But I know that there was some buzz about it in America when it premiered. And so I'm hoping that maybe someday it will get bigger. But this was only 300 yen. So this gigantic manga monstrosity was only about $2, $2.50. So for like $2 US, I will make space to put it. Yeah, why not buy it when it's only like $2? Okay, so now I'm going to actually. I mentioned that in one of my Manga Rocket orders, I also bought some figures. I bought a Alicia figure from Clevatis. To be honest, I'm just hoarding. To be honest, I'm probably never even going to open this box. I'm probably never even going to. This one is actually brand new, still in the original factory wrap. It was 1,200 yen. This is a leftover UFO catcher figure. Lots of leftover UFO catcher figures get sold off cheap afterwards. I like the idea of collecting obscure anime girl figures. I like collecting figures of girls that aren't super popular. The girls that don't get a lot of conventional figures. So that's why I picked up an Alicia figure. Because there's probably never going to be a whole lot of figures of her. I will admit my ignorance. I could probably look up this title, but I haven't. I'm pretty sure that first character is Megami. Megami wa Game ni. Oh. Oh, no. All right. No. Just right. This is the games gods play. This had an anime TV series, a year, 2 years ago? I did not watch it. I think I only watched the first episode, and I thought it was okay. But I thought this figure was really cute, and this figure was only like $3.50 US, or like $4. It was 500 yen. This figure was just so cheap that I figured I can't resist buying it when it's this cute and this cheap. So I picked this up, just because it was just too much of a bargain for me to pass up. When I mentioned that I was in Tokyo 2 months ago. I was in Tokyo in September. Two friends of mine and I went to Big Sight and we went to the SDF 17 comic convention, Dojinshi convention. When we came out of the convention, my friend wanted a drink, so we noticed that there was a Lawson's convenience store inside the convention center. So when we went over there, I noticed that there was a Ichiban Kuji lottery for Pretty Cure merchandise. And I thought to myself, well, that's unusual, because Pretty Cure is pretty old nowadays. And I have never participated. I have never bought a Ichiban Kuji ticket before. So I thought to myself, this is a great time for me to do it for the first time, buy an Ichiban Kuji ticket. Well, unfortunately, the figures are only one per store. There's only one winner. Each store has 3 figures: Cure Black, Cure White, Cure Luminous. And they only get one of each figure. Now, this store someone had already won the Cure Black and the Cure White figures. So I figured that my odds were terrible. I ended up getting like one of the D rank prizes. But I realized when I came back that Mandarake has started now getting those Ichiban Kuji figures. So I could not get or win one of these figures at the licensing big site, but I could come home and buy them through Mandarake. Now these were 3,500 yen a piece, so they're not super cheap. I think that's because they're brand new. They're as in like brand new releases. I imagine, give it a year or two from now, they'll probably be a lot cheaper. But I don't mind just because I've got a nostalgic story associated with them. I'm willing to buy them, and I have, I think, 3 sets of Pretty Cure figures, but I still don't have any of them that I've taken out of the package. So I think that maybe this time around I will actually take these out of the box and display them. So I'm hoping that I can convince myself to actually take these out of the box. But as I said, I did not pay any tariffs on these. Now maybe that's because they were secondhand. I don't know. But $70 for these 2 figures. Well, it's $55, $60. Those 2 figures, no tariffs. Speaking of tariffs, this actually I should probably use a proper tool because this is not the ideal tool. Sorry, one of my personal running jokes. This Mandarake order I did get tariff feed on. I will tell you that story when I get this open. This is not the order. Oh, this is not the Mandarake order. I apologize. This is a Suraga order, not a Mandarake order. I will tell you the Mandarake story when we get to it. I did not pay any tariff fees on this order. So what's in here? This Shonen Jump issue is the first appearance of Nishi Oishin's Medaka box. Now again, I think you probably have to be a somewhat in-depth or veteran anime fan to remember Medaka box. It did get 2 anime TV seasons. The first time a copy of this issue, relatively recently, came into stock at Suraga, it sold out before I could get it. But I was able to get this copy. I believe it's a little bit more expensive. I believe this was somewhere around 4,000 yen. So I believe I paid somewhere around 30, maybe a little bit more than $30 US for this. But this is my only copy, and this one will stay in my personal collection. I like the TV show. I remember I liked the first season more than the second season, but I don't remember the main character's name now, but I do have a figure of her also. This is my, I don't know, my 3rd copy, maybe my 4th copy of the first appearance of Yakusoku no Neverland. I'm not a big fan of the Promised Neverland manga series, the anime series. Just, I don't dig it, but I know it's popular. So these I can still occasionally pick up from Suraga and even Mandarake. Really, really cheap. No one in Japan seems to care about this first appearance. So these usually show up at like $10, maybe less than $10. This one I know was under $10. So I'm going to take at least 1 copy of this to some future anime or comic show and try and sell 1 or 2 of these. And yes, I mentioned that I bought a second first printing to hope that I would get the Obi. Yes, this copy has the Obi. So I will look at which copy. I will look at which. Actually, it's looking like this Suraga copy might be in better condition. So if this copy is in better condition, maybe I'll send this complete one into Beckett and get this slabbed. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at all. I don't know that there's really a huge amount of purpose or value in getting Tankobon slabbed because they're not first appearances. But they are collectible and they do look nice in plastic cases. So, I don't know yet. I haven't made a decision yet. But no tariffs on that order. This order also is from Syria. This order, I think possibly might be a little bit more interesting. Yeah. I was surprised to find this. This was not even on my want list. I was literally just scrolling through pages randomly and just came across it. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, that cover looks familiar. Hold on a moment. This is the first appearance of Outlaw Star. Now, I'm sure that a lot more of you will remember Outlaw Star because it played on Adult Swim. So I know it does have a lot of fond memories. I'm not the biggest Outlaw Star fan. I have to admit, and hopefully I won't get pitchforked and torched for this, I never finished watching Outlaw Star. I think I watched it up to, I think maybe like 2/3 of the way through, and then I got distracted, and I never finished it. It's a little personal shame of mine. I need, like, also the Big O. I think I never finished watching the second season of Big O. I need to get back and finish those someday, like when I retire, when I have enough time. But yeah, I was really, and this was cheap. To be completely honest, I got this from Sergio. I don't remember how much it was. I'm 100% certain it was under $20. It may have been under $10. I just don't remember, but it was really cheap. But I was just really surprised to find it. First appearance of Outlaw Star, and I'm really, really thrilled, really excited to finally acquire it. This is my only copy. This will stay in my personal collection. I mentioned that I was possibly someday going to take stuff to a convention to sell. This is my second or third copy. This issue of Shonen Jump, this is the first appearance of what's the name of it? Zombie, the zombie show that stars Andy. What's the crap? Let me see if I can peel the sticker off now. It had a Undead Unluck. This is the first appearance of Undead Unluck. You can see it up here. This is actually the pilot chapter. The ongoing series is called Undead +Unluck. This has no plus sign. This is just plain Undead space Unluck. But technically this is the first appearance. I know the first season of the anime really didn't break through. It didn't really become a huge hit, but I know it is getting a second season. So I know that there are probably some fans out there. This was really cheap. Again, I don't remember how much, but it was like $5, $3 or $5 or something like that. So for as little as I paid for it, I'll grab yet another copy. Similarly, I'm going to take this to a future comic show. This issue of Shonen Jump, I believe this issue contains Chainsaw Man Chapter 4. I think it's Chapter 4. This is the first appearance of Power in Chainsaw Man. Again, this issue is really cheap. Like, just nobody seems to care about Power in Japan. I don't know how many people really care about her in America. But I know that there are Chainsaw Man fans, so I figure there might be some Chainsaw Man fan that would like to own Power's first appearance. So I picked up this copy. Sadly, it does have a little bit of a spine roll. I don't know if I can put a stack of books on top of that to flatten it out or not. Maybe I'll try. But yeah, this was only like $3 or $4, so at that price I would pick that up. What was in this issue? This is another Comic Gamist. I think possibly this issue is the first appearance of Vampire. I don't remember. Maybe maybe this is the first vampire. I don't. There's some key in this. Maybe it's the first King of Fighters. I don't remember, honestly. I'll have to open it up and flip through it again to remember what was in this one. But I'm pretty sure this is my second copy, and I'm pretty sure this is pretty cheap. This is only like $10 or $15 or $10 or $12, and I'm pretty sure that this was some sort of key issue. There was some sort of significant comic first appearance in this. I picked up another copy of this. This is the first edition, first printing of the Ichigeki Sachi Hoi Hoi San manga tankobon that includes the DVD. This is my second copy. I think I actually pre-ordered through Amazon. I think I pre-ordered this back in the day because I was a Hoi Hoi San fan before the manga was published in tankobon. But this was the yen price on it is 3,000 yen. I think this was like $5. It was like super cheap. So I figured that I'll either keep a second copy of it or I'll put it up for sale at a show for like $10 or $15 and see if anybody makes me an offer on it. The point is, it was just so cheap I couldn't resist buying another copy. My pile of stuff here fell over. Apologies. This small Mandarake order, as I mentioned, this one got hit with $20.18 in tariff fees. Now, what I think is a bit odd is the contents of this Mandarake order. I did not instantly fall in love with Nichijou. It took a couple-ish episodes before I really fell in love with Nichijou. But I have wanted, ever since the Nichijou anime, a number of years back, I have wanted to own the Hakase and Nano Nendroid figures. They were like $60-something when they released, and I thought, that's just too expensive. At the time, I was only paying about $40 a piece for Nendroid figures, brand new. So I figured I don't want to pay $60, $65 for a Nendroid figure. Then they shot up to $100 or over $100, and I figured, I've missed my chance. I'm never going to get them now. But Mandarake actually got in both of them for about $50 each. Now, I think technically the Nano is opened. The Hakase is brand new, still factory sealed. But on eBay, these are still over $100 each. But I paid, as I said, right around $50 US a piece for them. Now, as I'm a hoarder, I'm never going to bother to open these. Granted, that's just me. I'm going to keep them and put them on display like this. I just want to own them just because I love these two characters. But I did not pay, and the boxes are different sizes, which is a little odd, but I did not pay tariff fees on these. No tariff fees on these two figures. While I was at it, I could add this Nanachi Noodle Stopper figure. This was 1,500 yen, so $10 or $12. $10 or $12 for a Nanachi figure? Yeah, I'm in. I'm not trying to collect every Nanachi figure because some of them are pretty expensive. But I really, really adore Nanachi. And I think this might be my fourth Nanachi figure. So I buy the ones that I like. I buy the ones that are affordable. And I normally don't buy Noodle Stopper figures because they're awkward. They're designed to sit on the top of a cup noodle, so they sit over an edge. However, this one has a flat base. This one actually sits completely flat. So I thought, okay, I like the construction of this one. I like the pose of this one. And it's a good price, so I picked this up. And again, no tariff fees on this. However, this Ghost Sweeper Mikami Shikijiki was available. This from Mandarake was 300 yen. So this was only about $2. But hey, I like Ghost Reaper Mikami. A vintage Ghost Reaper Mikami semi-transparent pencil board for $2? Yeah, I'm in. I want this for my collection. I got hit with $3 in tariff fees and $17 in brokerage fees for this. The tariff fee was for a plastic board. I did not get hit with tariff fees on any of those three figures. I got hit with tariff fees for a plastic board. It was like $1.50 in tariff, plus $1.50 or so service fee, plus a $17 brokerage fee. So $20.18 in taxes, in Trump taxes, for a $2 pencil board. Of course, had I known, I wouldn't have bothered to buy it. But it's here, and I guess I ended up paying $25 for this pencil board. Oh well, at least I know for the future. But regardless, that's the most of the stuff that I've added to my collection lately. I hope that if you're still watching this video has been interesting to you. That's the point of this. So that's all I've got. So I hope, well, I shouldn't say that. That's not really true. I might make another YouTube video someday. I seem to average these about once every 6 months or something like that. Because again, I'm not trying to become famous. I'm not trying to make any money off this. I just hope that I'm entertaining and informing some fellow fans. So if I've done that, great. I'm thankful. So bye-bye for now.